Hey everyone, this is Paige Ruderman, and welcome back to the So Rude podcast. Welcome to 2025. I will admit we're a little bit into January at this point. I, to be quite frank, was traveling and did not bring my mic with me. I did not pre-record anything to edit it in advance. So we're tuning in now, but like that's okay. Also, if you have any travel mic recommendations for when I am going to be out of my office, which is my living room, please send them my way because that would be great to maybe have something like that put aside in case I want to record on the road. But with that said, first episode of the new year. What a win. Also, did you hear that intro music, guys? We got a new theme song thanks to Daniel Martin. So, Daniel was a guest on the show last year, and I will make sure to link his episode below. He is a producer, writer, living here in Nashville, originally from the California area. And I just first have to say thank you so much to Token Genius, my friend Taryn. He created the first two theme songs for the podcast. The first one, I'll call that kind of like era one, and then a second one that we then connected about to retune to make it a little bit more rock. And I'm so thankful for what he created. It really helped me get my feet off the ground. And then I realized over the course of last year, it kind of hit me around summertime of last year that like this is a music podcast. So I wanted something that was really reflective of kind of the concert experience and like the rock shows that I used to go see and just how like excited and amped up you got when the first song starts to play. And I wanted to kind of capture a piece of that for this podcast. And so I was able to work with Daniel. I reached out to him and I was like, hey, I'd love to create a podcast song that captured that feeling and emotion. And we got together and it was great. Originally, he had a few ideas that he threw out that were kind of like previous works that he had that hadn't been used. And I was like, great, but not exactly like what I saw. I really wanted something that was like rock, feminine, upbeat, and captured the electricity that happens like right before a show kicks off. And so after we were able to connect on that vision, he was able to pull something together, which I'm in love. It makes me so happy to kind of have like a theme song with speaking in it. Anyways, new things for 2025. Also, this is the first year that I've started putting up flyers around Nashville, Tennessee. So if you see a flyer for the So Rude podcast and you post it on your Instagram or wherever and you tag the So Rude podcast, I will make sure to share it because that will make my heart so, so happy if you guys are starting to see them. Also, see if you can find all of them because there are quite a few surprise places and there will be more as the year goes on. So, those are kind of all of my housekeeping updates. As always, make sure to subscribe and follow the show on whatever streaming platform you are listening to the show on and any social media platform that you use. I try to post on there and make sure I'm sharing the episodes and clips. And through your support is how I'm going to be able to show growth on this show, which allows me to find future sponsors and connect with collaborations that I think would be really valuable and enjoyable for you as a listener of the show. So please make sure you're showing that support, whether it's ranking the show on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, leaving a comment review as well. So it kind of prompts people to say, okay, what did people enjoy about this show? And just seeing the platforms and the socials grow. So I truly appreciate you taking the time to do that. It's very quick, but it means a lot. So, first episode of the new year. What better way to kick it off with my resolutions? These are my resolutions for both my personal music journey and the music industry as a whole, what I kind of hope happens this year. So, to kick things off, I'm going to talk about my personal music resolutions for 2025. Kick things off, get work tapes of every write. You know who you are listening to the show. If you don't get work tapes when you are in the room writing the song, you are not getting the work tape. It is going to be extremely rare for you to actually get it later, especially for it to be the same melodies that you were thinking of and not, blended with some of your other songs or other rights. So make sure you get the right in the room, get that work tape so that way you have it. You can always go back and do a better one later, but at least capture what you have. Number one kind of leads into number two, which is I want to capture work tapes for every write, but my goal for 2025 is to turn more of those work tapes into fully fledged demos that I can use to share my catalog, whether that's a pitch, whether that's sharing it with an artist that I think is recording, whether it's feedback or sharing it with industry professionals. That's my goal. I want to turn more of those into demos. Which, side note, if you are a producer and you are looking to just grow your catalog, and maybe you're just looking for reps and you want someone, I have a huge catalog of written songs that I would love to start getting demos for. So maybe we can strike a little deal. I don't know. Maybe we can work together on that. I'm looking for people to kind of help be that resource for me this year. So if you fill that role, please reach out. Number three, finish more songs. Going along with getting that work tape and the demo, you got to finish the song in the right because I think that there is a magic in the room when you are writing it and you kind of have figured it out and then you're going to move forward with it. Again, it doesn't mean that you can't go back and edit it. Doesn't mean that you can't improve it. Doesn't mean you can't revisit it and tweak it and take it in a new direction. But if you don't get anything down, I have quite a few songs that are lingering in that verse 2 category. And it's just like then you start getting like stuck. How do I bring it forward? Just finish it. You can always go back. It's the ones that are going to keep popping up to you, like that chorus keeps coming into your head when you're in the shower or when you're driving or when you're going for a walk to be like, I'm going to go back and revisit that song. It's nice to have a finished version to reflect on and say, okay, what do I want to change? Number four, this one came to me because I've been doing quite a bit of traveling, hence my early update on why this episode is coming out so late in January. But I have gotten into the habit of listening to music through my AirPods or through my laptop speakers. It's not to say that the quality of those is drastically poor, but I will say it is not the best. And because I've been traveling so much, I've actually started listening to more music with wired headphones, whether it's with these Sonys or I'm listening to it with my Apple headphones that come in the box or used to come in the box when you would buy a new iPhone. It blows my mind how much of the song I was truly missing by not listening to it with wired headphones. I was recently traveling back from Florida and I'm listening to a song that I've probably listened to 100 times. And I'm like, oh my God, there's a string section in here because I'd not heard it before. It did not cut through the AirPod quality. Okay. And like if it did, it just was so low, I couldn't hear it. But as soon as I was listening to it with my Apple generic plugged in wired headphones, I heard the entire string section. I'm like, okay. Growing up, I used to listen to a Walkman or a CD player and I fell in love. It felt like you were really immersed in a song when you were sitting there listening to it. At least I did with those wired, poofy, fuzzy headphones. And I feel like I haven't connected with as much modern music in a sense because I'm hearing it through a different quality. And so who knows? I don't know. Maybe this will help me revisit some songs I passed on that will come back around and become faves. You never know. So that's one of my New Year's resolutions. Listen to more music with wired headphones. Number five. So this is for me as a songwriter. I want to write with more of whatever I was not writing with last year. What do I mean by this? I structure my calendar to be very heavily artist focused. I am writing with mainly artists. I enjoy it. That's kind of my favorite way to write a song because I know it's a message that's connecting directly to somebody. However, I would love to bring in more producer writers. So that way I have this network of artists that I have built great relationships with. We're getting work tapes. If we could bring in a producer writer into that right, and now we're walking out with like rough demos, at least somewhat of a track, I think that that would help artists start to hear the finished potential product of the song, and it might even encourage them to see that song as part of their catalog. So I would love to start to bring more production writers, producer writers into my rights that I already have. Going along with writing with more of whatever I wasn't last year, this leads into my number six, which is I want to try writing in more odd time signatures. So I mainly write in 4/4. I think a lot of us do. It's very common. It's comfortable. We know it works. We like it. However, in some of the latest writers rounds that I've been to, or even just songs that have been popping up on my shuffle lately, I've been hearing so many like 3/4 or 6/8. And really that just means like how many beats per measure. And it just gives a song a totally different feel. Like 3/4 is like a waltz. 6/8, I just think it'd be so fun to experiment with more of those. Even, I mean, growing up in band, we had really odd time signatures like 5/4 and 7/8. And as a listener, it just keeps your ear interested. Or every once in a blue moon, they would just throw in like a 2/4 measure right there in the middle of it and go somewhere new. Or like the whole section was a completely different time signature. And so I just think that that's fun. And like at the end of the day, I'm a music fan. My hope is that it's commercial and that people like it, but like I want to like it. And I enjoy those oddities. So I want to bring them out more in my writing for this year. Number seven, going back to my catalog of songs that I've written, which is amazing. I am so grateful that last year was the first year I had songs come out. I had three come out as cuts that I was a writer on, and I have some prepared for this year as well, which is so exciting. But I do have a lot of songs in my catalog. And what I would love to do is start to connect more with those artists that I'm still writing with and just kind of check in and be like, hey, are any of these songs are any of these ones that you like, but like something's, not, you don't particularly enjoy? Would you like to revisit any of them? Not because I necessarily need those songs to then become cuts, but if we're missing the mark, like if we're writing together and we enjoy the process, but the songs aren't getting to where we want to go, I would love to know from a writing perspective, what can we do to make sure we're really hitting the target of what you want to say? So maybe that's just a different process we're going to use in our future writes. But I don't do that too often. I never want to come across as pushy. I've really strived hard not to kind of ask those questions because I don't want anyone to ever feel pressured. However, I want to make sure that like I'm delivering on what they want out of the room too. So I think I'm going to try and figure out how to straddle that line for this year. And number eight, this is funny because I have a podcast and I feel like as the years go by, people only do more and more of this, but I would love to spend less time online. I want to spend more time in the real world. And those are the things that inspire me to write songs anyways. I want to go to more parks. I want to go hiking. I want to like experience jazz in a park. I want to like go watch movies with my friends, which technically is still on a screen. But you get what I'm saying? Like I want more in real life experiences and to spend less time online. Everything I've just shared up until this point is my personal music resolution. What do I want to do more of this year? I also have a few wish list items for the music industry in general. How would I like to see them go through a transformation in 2025? Starting off, I would love to see physical copies or digital sales grow. I think the streaming era truly butchered music for everyone. It has demonetized it to a point it's literally ridiculous that people can pay $10 and have access to every song in the world. And when it goes up $1, people basically like freak out. I mean, myself included, I get it. Life is very, we're all living on the edge right now when it comes to finances. However, art and music and creativity is what people turn to bring joy to their lives. And the fact that people have to basically choose to either like live or make art, I think is morally wrong because everyone gets to enjoy it. So why can't the people that are making it have a living? If we could go back to the physical copy or digital sales, it would bring at least a little bit more revenue to the artist. I think that especially when you think about like some of these songs, they're 89, 99 cents, $1.29. It's like you could buy four songs and still not buy one Starbucks cup of coffee. You know what I mean? And like how many times, I mean, I waste coffee all the time where I buy it and then I only drink half of it. So it's like Can we start to support our friends and our people in our network that we want to see succeed? I think we can do it. Number two, I would love to get back on my independent artist era grind. I grew up in the age of MySpace, which is how I found a ton of music, a ton of bands. It was like kind of the OG TikTok in a sense, where bands would create pages, they could post their songs up there, and then it just went feral. I think that especially as we see TikTok, who knows what's going to happen with that? We don't know. But I don't think Instagram is as easy for that to happen. I don't think Facebook is. YouTube shorts are popping off, but like, yeah, I'd really love to see more of this independent artist era grow. How? I don't know. We'll see. If you have recommendations, what's the new TikTok? Let me know. I really am curious to see where can music continue to thrive. Number three, I would love to see more gender balanced lineups when it comes to festivals or even here around Nashville. I have played quite a few rounds where it's like me and one other girl, and then everything else is men. And don't get me wrong, I love men. I love the guys that I get to write music with. I think they're very talented. I just also know that there is a lot of females in Nashville and a lot of people that are female that make music. So I would just love to see more of that come to light. As an example, Glastonbury committed to a 50-50 gender representation on their lineup. So I want to see people get spots that they deserve it, but I would like to see women supported a little bit more in this pursuit. Number four, this one's really personal to just me. I'm not sure if anybody else feels this way, but I would love to see drinking be less of an emphasis in music and in music culture. If you think about it, every venue has a bar. Most writers' rounds are at a bar. Liquors in most songs. And I mean, I can't speak because I have a song called Drink Like I Used to out with Jake Vinegar. Also linked down below. Go check it out. But it's just like, I don't think you need to be this tortured artist to make art. I think that you can find the human experience and the human emotion, and that's the stories that you're telling. It doesn't need to be through a lens of having an addiction or having to like reach some inner part of your brain. I think self-reflection gets you there just as well. So yeah, this might just totally be me. It's a hot take. You guys might not agree, but that's something I'd love to see more growth in for 2025. I would love to see less emphasis on drinking and drugs, etc., in the music culture. And number five, I would love to see dynamic pricing go away. Live music is still one of the best ways to connect with people. I remember growing up, if I knew like four songs from a band, I'd be like, all right, I'll go see them in person because I knew at least four. And if I like those four, there's a good chance I'm going to enjoy the rest of their album. And it was like affordable to do so. Nowadays, it is so expensive to go see people live. I just think we really need to see those monopolies like Ticketmaster get reevaluated. But until then, like artists have the control to take away dynamic pricing and then try and find some smaller venues. I know that small venues, they still exist. And it's just really important to get up and show out for live music. My brother was recently visiting me in Nashville. Recently, it was July 4th weekend, so clearly not recently. But he was visiting me on July 4th weekend, and we went out, we listened to some music. He's just like, "Oh my God, it feels great to see live music because that doesn't exist in a lot of other places. So when it is there, you need to support it because it shows those restaurants, bars, venues like, hey, there is a market for this. Let's start to book more of these shows. But if nobody turns out, it's not going to grow." With that said, those are my music resolutions for 2025, both my personal goals, what I would like to accomplish, and my industry goals I would like to see happen. Do you agree with what I said? Are there any things on your resolution list I didn't mention that are goals you're working for this year? Make sure to reach out and let me know. If you are not already, please make sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at sorude.podcast. We are also on YouTube, So Rude Podcast, where we're posting our videos, also shorts with clips from the show. I would love to see y'all on out there in the social spheres. Even though I said I want to spend less time online, it's okay. We're evolving. And as always, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and we'll talk soon. Bye now. Thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe so you can stay up to date with every episode. See you next time.